I'm Wendell Strode, the Executive Director here at the National Corvette Museum. And again, about 5:45, 2 years ago, we was home all relaxed and watching the morning news and seeing what was going on. And we get this call from Betty Hardison. And Betty says, Wendell, the floor has collapsed in the Skydome. We have some cars that are damaged. I think you ought to come on down. I said, Miss Betty, I'll be right there. And as we walked into the Skydome that day and began to look around and see what had actually happened, there was a little bit of this feeling of, how could this be happening to us? Woe is me. What in the world are we going to do? And I felt like the good Lord just kind of said, hey, big boy, I allowed this to happen when nobody was here. And you need to be thankful for that. And I said, Lord, you're exactly right. And you forgive me. And I said, this is bigger than Wendell. It's bigger than our whole team, but it's not bigger than you. And if you'll be with us, we know everything's going to work out perfect. We had no idea how it was going to work out. But it has worked out remarkably well. A lot of people have said we've taken lemons and made them into lemonade, and maybe that's as good a way as there is to describe it. I want to mention a couple of our folks. Anybody you see in a red shirt like this today is part of the museum staff. And our museum staff really stepped up that day, as they do regularly for the museum. But feel free to say something to them, ask them questions, any of the folks that you see that have staff shirts on. One of the first people to arrive after Betty was here, and I might also add Jimmy Klein, who's also an employee and part of our facilities management team. Jimmy got here about the same time Betty did. They come in together. But shortly after that, then Bob Hellman arrives. Bob is our facilities manager, and he lived probably more with this than any other employee, overseeing everything. For those of you that remember when we got out the Blue Devil, Bob's the one that got in it and started it, and it started right up. But he spent a considerable amount of time with this project as our facilities manager, and I would like to just take a minute and let's recognize Bob Hellman right back over there. And all the folks that worked with that. There was a special happening that morning that a lot of folks may not know about, and that was, we had 8 cars, of course, that were down in the cave-in, the collapse, the sinkhole. We had probably another 22 cars or so scattered around there. And you can see from some of the pictures behind us that there wasn't a whole lot of room to work with. And there was concerns there may be more cave-ins. But Bob and our facilities staff, some volunteers from the local club, I think maybe even some folks from other clubs come in to help us. And after the structural engineer give us the okay to go ahead and remove those cars, then very carefully, one by one, each of those cars were edged around the corner of that sinkhole and removed from the Skydome. So we want to thank everybody from that standpoint as well. Many of you probably know Christy Thomas. She's our finance and HR director. Christy's spent a lot of time working with this. So Christy's right over here somewhere. Wave your hand, Christy. And the next person I want to introduce will be turning the mic over to her, but is our marketing and communications manager, Katie Frasinelli. And Katie kind of oversaw all of the networking that we did with all of the media. One of the things that she had us doing and encouraging us to do was early on, we were going to tell our story to our Corvette members. So they would hear it from us. And the media really helped us with that. But Katie coordinated all that with the media and done just a fabulous job with that. So it's my pleasure now to bring to the podium our marketing and communications manager, Katie Frasnelli.
Who would have thought 2 years ago that we'd be standing here actually commemorating that sinkhole, right? I mean, how crazy is that? It's like, oh, it's so awesome now. Who would have known that when we walked in that day and saw the devastation of all the cars at the bottom of a hole, that we would then create an exhibit out of it? But we have, and it's undeniable the number of people that have come in the past 2 years just to see this place, where the sinkhole happened, what they had seen on YouTube or on their local TV station. And I don't know if you all realize, but if the sinkhole had been 3 feet closer to the red spire in the center of the room, this spire could have collapsed. 10 feet closer to the edge of the building, and the whole building could have collapsed. So couple that with the fact that it happened early before anyone was here, we are just so lucky, and we praise God for that for sure. I want to recognize and thank a few folks that have helped us from the very beginning, but also helped us put together this exhibit. We would pick their brains and hit them up for information that you all would find interesting but also informative. So from Scott Murphy and Daniel Construction, we have Danny Daniel, Mike Murphy, and Zach Massey. We would hit up. Thank you guys so much. Michael Marassa with Hayward Baker, our geotechnical engineers. Mike, thank you. And Dr. Jason Polk and Dr. Leslie North with Western Kentucky University. They're our cave experts. So after this sinkhole happened, it probably took us about 2 days to realize, hey, we have something here. People are getting off the interstate and they're coming to see this. They're so intrigued and interested. And we started to embrace the situation, and it really paid off big. We had our highest attendance ever in 2014, about 250,000 visitors. And even last year, we had 220,000 visitors to the museum, which is excellent. And even more so, in 2014, we had our National Caravan. That's a once in every 5 years thing where we have thousands of Corvettes come in. Not something we do every year. So if you take the attendance numbers for that out of the equation, last year was actually higher than 2014. So that's awesome. Thank you guys for visiting. Thanks for telling your friends, sharing it on social media, and let's keep those numbers up. Give yourselves a hand. So once we determined that we weren't going to keep the sinkhole, though a lot of people really wanted us to, we decided that we needed to figure out a way to tell the sinkhole story so that 10 years from now, we have something that people are like, oh, you remember that time all those Corvettes fell into the hole at the museum in Kentucky? So we started looking for exhibit companies that could bring this story to life. And we met up with Creative Arts Unlimited out of Florida. And today with us, we have Roger, who is he's the president and the head designer there. And I wanted to invite Roger up to come and share with us a little bit about what exactly went into creating this, where they came up with the idea. And then afterwards, we're going to cut the ribbon and let you all try it out for yourselves. Roger?
My name is Roger Barganier, and I'm the president of Creative Arts. I want to thank you for coming out. And when I first got the call, we've been around for 30 years or so building museums and special environments, and we like to do exciting stories. And we are storytellers by nature. So when I got a call that said we're going to combine Corvettes and a natural disaster together in one exhibit, they had my attention right off the bat. So when we got with the group here and we saw what happened, I couldn't get my mind around what that actually meant. You know, we have sinkholes in Florida, but nothing like this. This is a cave in. So we walked through all the information and we put together a story to where we wanted the visitor to experience it firsthand, to be immersed in that situation. So when you walk through here, you're going to see examples of, the story, but also geology lessons, also opportunities for STEM in public schools. It's really going to add another facet to an already great museum. And you're going to learn a little bit about it and almost experience a dark ride type of an effect like you would at a theme park in a way. But it's just a great opportunity to put all this information, put things together that's going to really give a new level to the museum, I think. And I hope you enjoy it. Hope we did a good job. We do a lot of special environments and a lot of interesting stories, but this is the first time that I've combined a museum with a natural disaster, and it's a great story. So we knew from the beginning that this was going to be a fantastic opportunity. So when we received the call from the museum, it came up, I couldn't understand exactly what had happened, because we have sinkholes in Florida, but they're filled with water and they kind of settle in. This was actually a cave-in. So we saw the footage, we talked to the staff, I brought my staff up. Basically what we do is we tell stories in 3 dimensions. That's what our job is about. So after interviewing the staff, getting the input, talking to my designers, we put together a charrette, which is where all the designers sit down and basically talk about how could we tell the story, look at the space, and make a 3-dimensional story happen within the space that we're given. We had a very tight, long hall that was the beginning of the exhibit. So to use that to its advantage, we imagined that as a tunnel, because it is also a geology story. We also thought it was great to have opportunities for the children in the public school and to add another facet and dimension to the Corvette story itself. So taking all these facts into account, we thought, well, let's just bring people underground to above ground and let them experience the cave-in firsthand. So we put together, that was the big pop, to actually be in the cave when it collapsed, and then exit to where you could see on the floor the size of the actual hole where it actually happened. So it puts things into context.
It's really exciting to see the exhibit. It definitely looks much different than it was the very first moment I walked in the Skydome 2 years ago today and saw the gaping hole in the floor, saw the Corvettes inside of it, didn't know what was down there, wasn't sure what exactly had happened, and then 2 years of hard work, science, exploration, construction, really nice work with all the different partners in the project, and now to see it all come to the sort of fruition of a product that now, to me, almost enhances and makes everything better with the Skydome, the exhibit. It's pretty amazing to see from that day where it's come just in 2 years.
I think the Corvette Museum has really taken the chance to take something which could have been a tragic disaster and really turned it into an opportunity for not only the museum but also the community to learn more about the landscape and the environment that we all are subjected to every day, and the opportunities that it can offer us, as well as some of the challenges and how we can overcome some of those.